Hello and welcome to another yoga studio. I am Kat, if you haven't joined in with us before, and it's great to have everybody here today for a quick chat on ways to improve stretching towards your toes. So if you're used to yoga and Pilates and you have a great forward fold, then that's amazing. That's lovely. It's a nice sense of achievement to be able to touch your toes. But when you can't touch your toes, it can sometimes feel a little bit frustrating. Now, before we start, these are only hints and tips on how to improve, okay? It's not the magic button that is going to suddenly make you touch your toes. You have to put the work in. You have to be religious in practicing a lot to be able to do it. And we all have a point where eventually our body just isn't able to move past. We are all designed differently, and some people are able to magically stretch much further than others, but there is no rhyme or reason. But no matter where you are with your ability to stretch forwards, there is always a little bit of room for improvement. And even when we have kind of reached our end game and we're not really going to be able to stretch any further, we've kind of got as far as our body will let us come into that fold position. There are times when when our body's tired, we get injured, we maybe don't stretch as much as we normally do because we're focusing on other things, and then we lose that sort of end game, and then we can work back towards it. So it's a constant fluid thing. We might reach our end point, we might have got as far as we can ever stretch with our hamstrings, but then we might come away from that point and then we can work back towards it. So that's why I say there is always something to work towards. But we are going to assume that touching your toes is really difficult for today. So some of the things we're going to need is something to sit on. So that could be a big heavy book, a block, a rolled up blanket, a nice firm pillow or two, cushion or two, and something that you can use as a strap. So I've got a belt strap here. It might be a band, a scarf, anything. But you're going to need something to extend your arms and legs with, and something to sit on. Okay, so we're going to come and sit on the floor. No mats required, just a clear space to sit on. And the first thing then we're going to do is prop ourselves up. So I'm going to take the block option. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our strap. Now, have a little bend in the knees to start, or maybe you want a big bend. Put the strap around your feet. So if you're sitting up quite high and that actually you feel like if you come forward, your legs are having to work quite hard to stay here, we can also then put a little bit of support in underneath the knees. So when you're ready, we want to think about sitting nice and tall. We're going to hold on to our prop that we've got around the feet. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, don't bring the head down. Bring your chest forwards towards your knees, and you can actually use your arms a little way to help. So you're going to come as far as you feel you can to get a little stretch through the back of your thighs, and then come back. So breathe out. Come forward, and then take it back. So if you feel quite comfortable there and you don't need to bend the knees, we can do exactly the same thing. We're going to breathe out, come forwards over straight legs, and then sit back up. So we're just finding that point where we feel something down the back of the legs. And like I say, if your knees are so bent that you're not getting, you're here and you're coming all the way forwards and you're going, well, I'm not getting anything, that's when we know we need to straighten the legs away from us. So that might mean putting less support in underneath the knees, perhaps. So aiming to take 10 of these movements backwards and forwards. And all the movement is coming from the hips. So I'm trying not to move my spine. I'm trying not to bring my head towards my knees. I'm just rocking forwards and backwards over my hips. So we're aiming to do 10. Once we've done 10, we might want to hop down off the block for a little bit, or our cushion. Take a nice big bend in the knees. Give yourself a little roll in the knees side to side. And then we're going to repeat that process. So sit yourself back onto your block. Put a little bend in the knees, bit of support under the legs if you want it. We've got our strap back around our feet, and we're going to do exactly the same thing again. So when you're ready, breathe out, press forwards, breathe in, sit up. So we're going to take another 10. So as we move in and out, we're getting a stretch in the legs, and we're training the body where and how it can move. So you might find as you start to come forwards, you can go a little bit further. We've got 8, 9, and 10. And then we can sit up. Come back off the block. We're going to have a little rest. So you can move whatever props you want out the way. Perhaps have that little roll of the knees from side to side. And then we're going to take one more round of 10. So we're back up onto our block. We're going to arrange our support underneath the legs, bending the knees as much as you need to. Oh, my mat's getting scooted up, never mind. So it doesn't matter whether you've got your feet together or your feet hip width apart. Kind of just see where it feels comfortable with your strap. Some places, some types of classes will suggest that the legs are hip width. Some will suggest the legs come together. But it's this movement here that we're practicing, and we'll get the stretch down the backs of the legs. So I'm going to change the position slightly, bring the feet wider, and then do the same thing. So we're going to go breathe out, breathe in. So I'm taking those movements forwards and backwards. Maybe you want to start walking your hands down your strap. And don't worry about touching your toes. Focus on the movement of bringing the body forwards. If your body's up here, then it's much harder to stretch forwards. As your body gets closer, the hand gets closer towards your feet. So we're aiming for another 10. So we've got the last one, 10. Okay. This time we're going to hold it, and we're holding for at least 30 seconds. So it doesn't matter, like I say, it doesn't matter if you're touching your toes, it doesn't matter how much space, you might be all the way up here. But if you're getting that sensation down the back of the legs, there may also be sensation in the hip or the back somewhere, because there's lots of muscles being stretched through the back line of the body, maybe through the calf even as well. So we're just going to hold it there and hold the stretch. So we practiced moving forwards. Now we're practicing holding. Maybe you might find as you hold here for a little bit longer, you can come a little bit further forwards. And then sit yourself back up. We can move our support out the way. We can hop down from the support underneath our hips. And then maybe this time you want to just relax forwards with a bend in the knees, shake the legs out. Doesn't matter, we have finished. So that's the practice. That's the easiest way to practice coming forwards. I mean, there's lots of other things we can be doing, lots of other ways of stretching and practicing moving around the hips. But there's a simple exercise just to bring yourself forwards. And that's the movement we're wanting to do. Remember, the coming forwards from the hips. And then think about just taking that little lift up here, because quite often we find it difficult to sit on the floor, and that affects our movement forwards. We don't have to straighten the legs out to start, and we're going to use our strap to help the arms and the legs come together. And then as you progress, you then might find that you can start to have less support under the hips, and you can sit on the mat. We might start to go from having the knees bent to straightening the legs out, so that in the end you feel like you're coming more through that straight seated legged position. And the more you practice it, and you aiming to kind of, but practice every day. So the more you practice, if you aim to do every day, then it doesn't matter when you miss a day. But if you kind of think, well, I'm just going to do it once a week, then the week might have gone by and you won't have practiced at all that week, and then you sort of feel like you're not getting there. So aim to practice every day, and then when you miss a day, it doesn't matter. So we're looking, you want to keep the consistency, and then slowly, you'll start to find you're lengthening the legs out, you're coming closer towards the floor. And maybe you get to the point where you don't feel like you need your strap anymore, and you can reach towards your toes. So that's our quick and easy recipe for helping to improve your hamstring flexibility, which in turn will help you reach towards your toes. All right. If you found it useful, give it a thumbs up, ask any comments or questions below, and hit the subscribe button now so that you know when to join in with one of our regular classes. All right, take care now. Bye.